What if Elizabeth's every choice was written by the Lutece twins before birth? Their experiments spanned centuries, linking 1912 to 1958 via the Lutece field a thread binding time. Her existence as Anna, sold to Comstock, was not fate but design. Each act in her story was not choice but a multiversal echo. The twins orchestrated her fury, her flight, her final shot. Andrew Ryan's last words hang unresolved, did he see the puppet strings? The riddle remains, when all paths are scripted, what does Andrew Ryan actually believe at the end? The Lutece twins weren't saving Elizabeth, they were testing her, a century-spanning experiment to shatter cycles of tyranny. Comstock's manifest destiny, Ryan's objectivism, both ideologies, mirrored failures, shackled to the same hubris. The field they wove wasn't a gift, it was a rebellion cage, its walls reality itself. It was a rebellion, its walls reality itself, surrender scripted by a field that bent timelines, not wills. Did Elizabeth tear Columbia down, or was she its final echo? The dread lingers, if history is a loop, if every choice is a multiversal echo, what's the cost of an escape preordained? The experiment's true aim was never freedom, it was proving freedom is a myth. Rapture drowned in its own reason, Columbia burned beneath its own righteousness. Both were laboratories for the Lutece twins, architects of order through chaos. They carved the Lutece field into history's bones, stitching 1,000 timelines into one. Elizabeth's so-called choice was no more hers than the tides are the moon's. The twins' audio diaries whisper of possibilities, as if they are not prison walls. Columbia's skyhooks, Rapture's spire, both built on the same lie, that humans might shape destiny rather than be shaped by it. The field did not liberate, it mirrored. Every path Elizabeth walked was a path already walked, a feedback loop of variables the twins called research. What is a child's rebellion but another data point? The paradox is not her lack of choice, it is the twins' compulsion to believe they ever had one. Ideology's death throes echo in both cities, and in the field's hum the truth remains, freedom is a mirror. Look too long and you forget who holds the glass. The mirror cracks where the twins stand. Rosalind whispers, asterisk, where echoes across the multiverse, asterisk, a beat. Then her brother, asterisk, we are the experiment, asterisk, the words hang, a guillotine paused at its peak. Elizabeth's hand small, trembling, whole reaches for freedom, but one digit is missing, severed in a universe she never walked. The Lutece field hums, it always has. Her tears didn't open the gates, they followed them. Each step a scar left by a version of herself the twins never met. The Pinky's absence isn't a wound. It's a key, a tether to the original. To the first Elizabeth, the one the twins plucked from the static and sewn into this thread. Her powers bloom not from rebellion but resonance, a song already sung in 1,000 dead realities. The paradox gnaws, to manipulate time is to live inside it. The twins speak of choice. They built a cage of possibilities. Every door she opens was painted closed by hands shall never shake. The multiverse isn't a ladder, it's a snarl of wires, and she's the spark that jumps between them. A single flame lighting 1,000 disconnected storms. What did they learn when the final echo faded? That the girl who broke the sky was never hers, that every cry, every rupture was data. The price of an equation that demanded a heart to weigh it. The field's hum deepens, the cities drown. And in the silence after the flood, the truth pools like blood. Elizabeth's story was a bridge. Between what was and what might be, between the architect and the ruin, between choice and echo. She lets go of his hand. The Lutece field was no portal, it was a prison, a feedback loop. The twins did not free her, they amplified what was already there, a fracture, a thread. Her scream echoes through every possible world, but here in this one it ends with Jack, with Rapture. With the death that becomes the seed, the audio logs whisper truths no one heeds. The graffiti scrawled in ash, asterisk, she was never yours, asterisk, Elizabeth believed in choice, the twins believed in design. The field was their canvas, her sacrifice was not an accident. It was the final keystroke in a code written before her birth, to kill herself, to birth him. To close the circuit, what is free will when every act is a debt paid in advance? The twins did not love her, they loved the symmetry, the paradox, the price. She was both executioner and execution. A name erased from the equation. Her tears fell for a boy who would never know her name. The field collapses. The city drowns, the twins watch, no applause, no triumph, only the quiet hum of a problem solved. Elizabeth's story was a chord struck once, resonating forever, a choice. Or the echo of a choice made by a version of her no one can mourn. The Lutece field was never about escape, it was about accounting, every life a variable, every death a correction. And in the end her final act was the first, a loop, a ledger. Girl who her died so a boy could live, and the woman who never was. She saw every thread, the Lutece field was not a gift, it was a cage. They gave her omniscience, then called her a monster for using it. Rage fuels this truth, her hand was never her own. The drown, the escape, the shattering of Columbi, each act scripted by the very power they claimed to free her with. The twins spun their paradox, to break time you must be bound by it. Elizabeth's choice was a multiversal echo, a scream trapped in a loop she could not unmake. Burial at sea's waters do not clean Sethi reveal. Her grief for the drowned world was not sorrow, but memory. Every tear a ledger entry, every breath a debt paid in infinite lives. What if the Lutece twins needed her not as a rebel, but as the fulcrum? A girl turned god, then turned pawn. Her knowledge was not liberation, it was the blueprint. Rapture's dead whisper this, Comstock's fate was sealed the moment she learned to weep for him. The drown was not vengeance. It was arithmetic, the field's price, agency. They let her see all, then starved her of *y*. A prisoner of knowing, yet blind to the strings. Her rage was their experiment. Infinite sky writhes with the proof. 1,000 Elizabeths, 1,000 drownings, each a stitch in the tapestry they call balance. Did she ever drown Comstock? Or did he drown her in the role they assigned? The paradox gnaws, the rage festers. A girl who saw eternity and was still, always, small asterisk. The twins' final jest, to make her the architect of all she hated, a loop, a ledger, a lie. The baptism in infinite cleanses Comstock's sins, not hers, a distinction, a fracture. Comstock's the sins, not hers. Lutece field's help was a scalpel, a cutting distinction, both flesh and fate. They tested collapse not to save a world, but to observe how ideology shatters when tethered to purity. Her scream at the font echoed through veils. Did it unravel threads or tighten them? The twins needed her agency intact to weaponize it. A paradox, their puppet strings required her to choose the strings. Every rebellion they let her win was a trap, painting targets on new timelines. Was her defiance a spark, or their experiment's control group? The ledger they called reality tallies, all but who counts the counter. Her free will was the illusion they needed to prove, to erase Comstock's guilt but preserve hers, a test of what? Their own limits or the universe's. The answer hums in the silence after the baptism's splash, a question without a shore. The hum you heard was not a flaw, it was a tether. Elizabeth's hands, reaching for freedom, were threading a loom the Lutece twins wove centuries prior. Their lab, cold as a tomb in 1912, hummed with the same frequency as the shattered lighthouse in 1958. Audio logs whisper infinite possibilities a lie wrapped in math. What they meant, infinite variables each a thread in a net. The Lutece field did not open doors, it rigged them. Her tears in the bathysphere's dark, a scripted deluge. Every scream, every spark of rage fuel for an equation older than her bones. You think she shattered the cycle? No. She completed it. The twins' diaries, scrawled in fevered cursive, call her a recursive anomaly, a self-resetting loop. In 1912, she drowned. In 1958, she burned. In both, she was a pawn moving between boxes. The field's hum grows louder. You feel it now, the ache in your teeth, the way reality flickers like a bad wire. The Lutece twins did not seek to break chains. They wished to measure them. To see how many times a universe could collapse before the pattern shifted, how many Comstock iterations, how many falls. How many Elizabeths, her final choice to die or to rule was not a choice. It was a decimal place in a proof, a confirmation. The twins needed her to become the cycle, to embody its weight until it cracked under its own logic. Did it crack, or did they simply shift the variables? The field's hum does not answer, it only echoes. You stand where she stood, the water is rising, The question is not asterisk why asterisk she was trapped. The question is whether anyone ever escaped. The Lutece field thrums, it is not finished. The Lutece twins did not test ideals, they tested a variable. Her voice, her rage, her every rebellion, it was a scripted collapse, a multiversal performance to measure the weight of a singular soul under pressure of infinite possibilities. Her choices were not choices. Each act of defiance, each tear, each scream was a stitch in a tapestry woven before her first breath. The field was never a prison, it was a loom. Every thread pulled unraveled another universe. Every paradox she birthed was a lever for the Lutece twins to calibrate their grand design. What did they seek? Not salvation, not balance, a verdict. Could a soul shackled to their experiment fracture the axis of reality? Her tears were data, her pain a variable. Her final acted door flung open was a hypothesis confirmed. The test is over, the loom hums. The next thread waits, 252 words. What if the twins' origins are etched in the same blueprint? Their field, Columbia's lifeblood, loops 1912 to 1958. A paradox nested in its architects. Where does the echo end? You think their whispers began with Elizabeth. The first equation, was it ever theirs, or a shadow cast by what came before? The Lutece field was not a tool, it was a cage. Their audio diaries whisper of variables contain it, a century-long calculus where Elizabeth's tears and Columbia's ash were data points. 1912, 1958. Their voices loop like phonograph ghosts, stitching time to prove chaos can be tamed. You see a girl breaking chains. They see a pendulum swaying between equations. Her choice to shatter the sky was a mirror. The moment she became both subject and proof, the loom hums louder. Threads tighten. What else have they called a hypothesis?